Hey, this is Matt. Once again, what you're about to see in the videos are the paid requests. This time for Andrew. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, PayPal's usually the best bet. I also do have a Cash App and Patreon. It could be for a topic, reaction, commentary, review, re-review, video game let's try, playthrough, whatever the case may be. Links are in the info box. Wherever the info box is nowadays, since YouTube changes it all the time. If so, thank you so much. I'll get to it as soon as I can. If not, no worries. But this time, Andrew wanted me to talk about a Netflix show, episode 1 of The Confession Killer, Henry Lee Lucas. This is a 5-episode show. I will say after watching it, I hope Andrew requests the others, because this was fascinating. And the reason I paused there was because some of the stuff in this, I'm like, truth is stranger than fiction. Like, really? Wow. Because, okay, it's about Henry Lee Lucas, but it's more about the aftermath of him being caught and how much of a circus it was. And that was fascinating to me. So, episode 1, it's, Texas, 1983. They talk about how this guy was caught. And he's gone on to say he killed like 300 people and 150 women. People saying he makes Charles Manson sound like Tom Sawyer. And the reason how this become a kerfluffle later on is it seems like he made up some of these crimes that he did kill, but he didn't kill as many as he said. And if that's the case, then some people got away with murder. Because you put all these to this guy, what about the actual people who did the killings? And then that's where, we're going to lead off into the rest of the miniseries, I would assume. But in this, they mentioned the Texas Rangers, how they were to be the benefit of understaffed cops. This 82-year-old woman was missing, and then this 15-year-old girl was missing. The one link was Henry Lee Lucas, so they talked with him. They saw that he had a prior history. In 1960, he killed his mom. He was in prison for a bit. And then they talked with him and then to look for evidence. And he actually let slip that he had a warrant out. And they talked with the ranger who was talking with him. Oh, yeah, that's true. That was Wisconsin, right, or something? Like, oh, no, it was this. Yeah, that's right. All these papers are around. Like Stalin to talk to the guy. It's a very well-produced show by Netflix where it goes at a good pace. They have interviews with people that were there, the Texas Ranger, journalists, this guy who wrote this book on Ted Bundy, who went and spoke to him. And then, if I understand, by the end of this, realized pretty soon a lot of what Henry was saying was bullshit. Like, he killed people, but not as many as he said. And then there's a lot of footage from back in the day where it's news footage of the court case, old interview footage with Henry Lee Lucas, old interview footage with the Texas Rangers that are around at the time, who maybe they had other stuff going on as to why they went along with Henry so much. So I like the melding and the merge of the old footage and new interviews, and then it made it all like a complete picture, complete full story of what was going on here. And about how they got Henry Lee Lucas into court about these killings, and he's like, well, what about the other 100 women? And then there's this, what? And then it became this, as the one Texas Ranger says, it becomes a circus. And think about how this older Texas Ranger took over, and I think it's the same guy that was a Charles Whitman, the guy from the tower shooting. I guess he was the ranger on the plane that was trying to distract him and stuff, and his plane got shot up. So he's like a very famous ranger, and he took over this case. But it seemed like maybe they were enjoying the spotlight a bit too much. So then everyone kept asking him, and then Henry kept confessing to everything. Would draw and yeah, this person did this, and yeah, I did this to this person. And like the more you watch, you see he really liked the attention. And that's why I'm leaning, like I'm watching this and just, this is what really happened? Where Henry Lee Lucas was able to walk around the police station with no handcuffs on? He was just able to get soda from the machine. He was able to just joke around with these certain Texas Rangers. There's this Bible thumping lady that fell in love with him. There's pictures where she's cutting his hair with scissors. This is a guy who supposedly killed 100 people, 150 people, and you're using real scissors. They could have just been like, it's just, and then they're like, what? What? And even the guy who wrote the Ted Bundy book, he's like gobsmacked at what's going on here. And they mentioned Otis Toole, and there's some 1983 footage that we see what he looks and sounds like. He talked very softly. He talked very softly like this. He just talked like this, and I guess you kind of get that maybe there's some kind of between Henry and Otis. Some kind of, well, they don't go too in depth on that, but it does seem like what you understood. The thing that struck me the most was there was a Japanese film crew. And think, wow, they had the actual footage of this. Where they're talking with Henry Lee Lucas, and the Japanese film crew's like, oh, you're very popular in Japan. I don't know why. Because a bunch of white people died? Like, yay, it wasn't us. And they give him a present. Like, they literally have a present wrapped and give it to him. And I'm like, I didn't even get many of that on my birthday a few months ago. But this person got a present wrapped. And he's a serial killer. And the fact that he was able to just walk around without handcuffs and have his sodas, whatever we want the machine, and yeah, sure. No wonder Henry Lee Lucas would have said whatever the hell you wanted, because either I could be in prison, getting butt plugged by a bunch of guys one at a time all at once, to be a dick pincushion, or I get to be in a station with all the soda I want, and the attention, and people talking to me, and I get to not have handcuffs on, and I get to be in a much more comfortable place, and Japanese film crews filming me. No wonder he kept going at it. And these other Texas Rangers, they don't think anything of the sort, like, But apparently by the end of it, it ends with a nice cliffhanger where the guy who wrote, again, the Ted Bundy book, who was interviewing him, he talked about how when the Japanese crew was talking with him, he said, oh yeah, I killed some people in Japan as well. Yeah. How'd you get there, Henry? I drove there. And like someone off camera is like asking, what? Yeah, apparently he drove to Japan. He said he drove to Japan. And you're like, okay. No one's going to question that? So that stuff was just fascinating with... And I kind of like that they went in that direction for this, because... I don't know, just a fascinating subject matter of just how this embellishment, how that could be extremely harmful as well. And I don't know if it's like a cover-up, I don't know if something else... That's what makes me intrigued as to what the other episodes will entail. Because Henry Lee Lucas, I was hearing about, based on Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, the movie, that stuff. The killings. The aftermath, maybe I'm just in the dark. I don't know if everybody's like, shh, don't do it because we don't want to make some Texas Rangers look bad. Or maybe I just had my head in the sand. And to be fair, I never really delved deep into the material to begin with. I'm sure if I did, it would have been right there front and center. But that's the stuff. So it's like, it establishes who Henry Lee Lucas is, him being caught, the media circus. Like I said, I like the usage of all the old footage mixed in with on-camera interviews, so it's not just a static, this person's interviewed, this person's interviewed, here's a picture, this... No, they use a lot of material. It's very well produced. But Netflix does that a lot. They do a really good job with their documentaries. However you feel about their movies, their documentaries are pretty well done. But they don't feel cheap or anything. Went at a good pace. It was under an hour. It was like 40-some minutes or so, give or take. And it definitely makes me want to watch more, so... I'm very curious as to what's going to happen next. Yeah, I could look up, you know what I mean. Just that whole Japan film crew thing just blew my mind. I went, he got a birthday, like, whatever, a present, and then he said he drove to Japan. Oh my God. And the cops didn't think, if this guy thinks he drove to Japan and killed people there, what else did he make up? But then maybe they don't want to say that because, oh, well, maybe, what if none of it's true? Well, we think some of it's true, but yeah, how do you know which is true and which is not true? And how come you didn't know this sooner? And, then their career's on the line, or their career's in jeopardy, or they're up shit creek, or maybe there's just going to be some conspiracy, maybe there's going to be some cover-up on it. I don't know. But it's definitely a fascinating, different look at something, at this subject matter. So, that's definitely intriguing. Very intriguing. So, thanks once again, Andrew. Really appreciate it, man. Take care. And we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.